Howdy folks, it is Scanner here. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Ireland. So we're going to take that day and we're going to talk about the Carcass Front in Trench Crusade for a bit of irony. The Carcass Front was a stretch goal that was promised from the original campaign. It was the $1 million stretch goal, and we are just shy of learning all about it. It will be revealed at Adepticon next week. We got some hints and teasers in a post on the 18th onto the Kickstarter campaign page. So I'm going to run through that, and I'm going to run through some various bits and bobs. And I'm going to answer a burning question that I know people have had that I reached out to get information on. So yeah, let's run through it. So the Carcass Front, basically within the world of Trench Crusade, is the coastline of the Levant area. I guess running from north of New Antioch all the way down to like Ekron and around by the domain of Mammon, kind of down by Jerusalem and all that kind of stuff. So it's a huge area, and it was created in 1905 when a supply fleet was ambushed and destroyed, and all the wreckage and stuff washed up on the coast. These hundreds and hundreds of wrecked ships, I guess, all down the coastline. And there was a huge amount of supplies and important things to fight over. And the area swelled with fateful forces and demonic entities and heretics and all that kind of stuff, kind of scrapping it out. That is the basis of the Carcass Front. That's what we are going to be playing through. So the original promises, basically, of the Carcass Front, according to this Kickstarter post, were a beautifully illustrated map of the theatre of war where the campaign takes place, as well as other pieces of art and literature to flesh out the horrors of this most sacrilegious of places. Full rules for a campaign mode where players make tactical choices each turn and explore an ever-shifting campaign map, unlocking unique and narrative-driven gameplay bonuses as they go along. Multiple end goals for your warband to pursue in order to claim victory, special scenarios unique to the Carcass Front, special rules for weather conditions, night battles, and more, full rules for building your encampment along with their gameplay rules, a story-driven mode where players take the role of one of the historical warband leaders such as heretic war priest Sharon or Lady Cassandra Stahl, as they vie for supremacy over the Carcass Front, each driven by their inner motivations and pursuing their own goals. This will include new models to represent these named characters. Now, all of the above content was promised in digital format only, including an HD version of the map, the STL files for the minis, and everything else. Now, according to the post, and I quote, "What you'll be getting is honestly even more than we expected when we wrote this a year and a half ago. This is because, as was the case with the core game, we've had the time and resources to turn Carcass Front into something really special. There is so much more in there than we originally planned. The lore for Carcass Front and the forces battling over it is fully fleshed out. There is a lot of brand new art. It's one hell of a book, and we're very excited to show it to you." Now, by book, they mean PDF there. This does mean that some of the content has evolved though, and that's what we want to clarify. Printed content. The final version of Carcass Front will include other printed material outside of the book and the map. You will of course get print files for all the material in the box. That's right, Carcass Front will be a boxed set that you can purchase in physical format should you wish. Special rules for weather conditions. These have been adapted to be used for any game of Trench Crusade, not just the Carcass Front campaigns. They will be delivered via a separate document. So if you've been excited about that and have been looking to add it to your regular games, you'll be able to do so. Named character models. To give you full transparency here, we are still very much on the fence about special characters in Trench Crusade. The game is all about creating your own warband full of weird and wonderful characters, and now that you've had time to really dive into the future development of the game, we're worried that having these options in the game would detract from that. The rules team is still looking at options here, but for the moment, this is off the table. However, we don't intend to leave this promise unfulfilled. We want to over-deliver In the place of the 2 models we originally promised, you'll be getting digital files for 4 quote-unquote playable models, which are fully compatible with the star warbands in the Carcass Front. So 4, I'm assuming there will be 4 main narrative-focused warbands, and each one will have a playable model. We can't say much more than that for now, but they are exceptionally cool. So I found this a little bit confusing, and I know a lot of other people did. So I reached out to the team and I asked Jamie about it. And I was like, look, man, are these named models? Does that just mean like that they don't necessarily have particular like special rules? They will be counts as. So you might have character A and they will play as a trench cleric or whatever. And like he couldn't give me a huge amount of information, so he just said, no, they will not be counts as. Quote unquote, it's something completely new. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know in what form that will take on the battlefield. My assumption is a new unit type, right? Because then you could basically have anything as that unit, model agnostic game and all that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily a character, but that it's a new unit type being introduced as a result of this unique occurrence, this unique section of the war that's taking place in the Carcass Front, where these story warbands are introducing new elements that they've been working on in an attempt to surprise each other. So that is my assumption as to what they are doing, because yeah, it's pretty interesting. And like, look, Jamie doesn't necessarily want to like spoil anything for me either, so I told him, do not tell me anything that you simply would not want ending up in a video. I don't have any secret information. I'm not holding anything back. This is everything that I have been told is literally, and I'm reading from the screen right now, you can quote me that, quote, it's not a Kansas, it's something completely new, unquote. So that's all I could get for you. I'm very sorry. But also, I don't necessarily like this stuff being spoiled for me either. You know what I mean? And keeping secrets is, in general, a bit of a pain in the ass. So we are going to have, imagine, if you will, 2 different versions, I guess, of the Carcass Front. There will be the digital stretch goal version that all of us backers will get. Yeah, here we go. On that note, Carcass Front has grown into a fully fledged box product that will contain new plastic kits. They were never envisioned when we originally conceived the idea of Carcass Front, and as we've said before, we cannot give out the digital files for plastic products, so these will not be included in the digital rewards. On top of the models, we're also producing a full terrain and token set for Carcass Front, which you will all be receiving digitally for free, so that's pretty cool. And then delivery date, we want everyone to get Carcass Front at the same time, both digitally and physically. Therefore, you will be sent your digital rewards on the street date of the box release, which will be confirmed later. What I can say now is that you'll be able to dig into this over the summer, so it'll be a summer release for Carcass Front. These rewards will be delivered to your My Mini Factory account, just like the previous digital rewards. So we'll be finding out a lot more at Adepticon, but basically, as I was saying, it's that 2-tier thing. It is the digital tier where we will get the promised stuff from the original campaign. Technically, we're getting a little more, right? Because instead of like 2 models, we're getting STLs for 4 models, and we're getting STLs for terrain and for the token set, which is pretty groovy. Then there will be the boxed set. That will be, I'm assuming, produced the same way as the Prussians were by Archon and delivered via their distribution. So I'm guessing that any store where you can currently buy the Prussians, you'll be able to get Carcass Front. Now, what exactly is in that Carcass Front thing, or what it looks like, or what it contains, I've no clue. And we can make some maybe assumptions based off the fact that this thing is happening in a very specific part of the map. It is occurring in Carcass Front, literally, right on the doorstep of Ekron, which is Beelzebub's domain, and right on the doorstep of the domain of Mammon as well. And if you want to kind of have, let's say there's 4 star warbands. So let's assume that there's going to be 2 good guys, 2 bad guys. And if you want to have 2 bad guys that can also scrap each other for fun and will do so for free, you've basically got Beelzebub and Mammon who hate each other. We've recently had lore drops around the fall of Egypt telling us a bit more of the Knights of Avarice and things of that nature. So we could be getting Knights of Avarice models. Perhaps we could be getting Dirge models. Perhaps. I doubt we will just get straight up Black Grail. We already have them. So that's what makes this very complicated, basically trying to predict whatever is going to happen, because we can assume we're not going to get plastics for things that already exist in STL form. It would be a really bad use of resources. You want to provide something that people don't already have, basically. Never mind if they were like resculpts even. The people would still be loath to pick them up in plastic format if they've already got them. You need something that people don't have at all. So we might see something coming from the Iron Sultanate. Would we potentially be able to see a Mamluk Faris surprise introduction as an entire faction? I don't know. Could this be the introduction of the Hebrew Knights, which we know has been worked on for quite some time? That would be pretty cool. We know they somehow managed to continue to exist and survive within no man's land, so we could see them popping up. We could see a walk out of New Antioch. I feel like that would be potentially the most boring of all the possible ones that we could see. Would be like seeing yet another variant of New Antioch arrive in the game. I personally would not like to see that very much. We literally just got the Prussians. I would love to see the raiders, the naval raiders for the heretics show up. That would be insane. Getting like a full faction of those sculpts would be pretty nutty. So yeah, like there's lots of stuff that they could do. Frankly, given where they're fighting and the hellaciousness of the war there and all that kind of stuff, you could even see maybe something like trench ghosts popping up. I'm just going off the things that I've seen them kind of pushing lately in the lore, and thinking about the things that they've been pushing lately. We had those mindwork sculpts of the trench ghosts, so maybe they're kind of hinting at something there with that. I have no idea. But yeah, they have a huge amount of potential for stuff that they could do. Will we see 4? Now, this is the big question, and I don't mean to like lead people on to something that couldn't possibly occur, but will, like, they were talking about 4 star warbands. Well, I'm actually getting ahead of myself there. I am extrapolating 4-star warbands because the digital files for 4 playable models, which are fully compatible with these star warbands in Carcass Front. So are they doing 2 playable models for 2 warbands? Are they doing 4 or 1 for each of 4? I don't know. But let's assume a box set of Carcass Front is being treated as a starter set for the game. So you'll have 2 warbands in there. Maybe. That would be, I think, really cool to see the game hit that point where it's at starter set and that starter set ends up in so many shops. I think that would be extremely good for the game and extremely good for the hobby in general, because the more starter sets get into your local game store, the more variety people have, the more options people have. Look, I love 3D printing. I've confirmed my overall investment in 3D printing at this point, I think, by partnering with people to make STLs. I'm doing the Creature Crusade with Creature Caster. I've teamed up with people and we are producing a very interesting release, I feel, around the Rough and Readies that I hope people are really going to like, that we'll be talking about a lot more over the coming year. Like, I love STLs, don't get me wrong, but they have a limited impact when it comes to where you actually got to battle for mind share, which, especially over in America, from what I can tell, a lot of people play in stores. You got to get into stores and get in front of people. And having this product that's able to do that will be hopefully great for the hobby in general and the consumer in general, because more options are really good. And I like when stores are able to carry more than just Games Workshop stuff. Personally, I like having a healthy game space with lots of options for people to choose from. So yeah, maybe in like my dream world, my absolute dream scenario would be that they were able to do the kind of Mantic thing. Mantic will do a variety of starter sets most of the time. They will do different armies in the starter sets to try and appeal as broadly as possible. That would be sick. The chances of that happening, about 1%. But that would be the sickest shit possible if there was 2 starter sets with 4 different armies across them. That would be absolutely crazy. But yeah, who knows? Anyway, I'm warbling again. The sun is very beautiful today. I'm going to go outside for a walk. Thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to go over and follow Creaturecaster. Now that I mention it, the Creature Crusade. Link is down below. If you're interested in really fucking sick STLs that cover like Mammonian aligned Heretic Legion stuff, then get over there and you'll find some nice proxies that you could use. And there's some insane shit. Like, I legitimately mean insane sculpts coming out over the coming months. So, thank you all so much for watching. Please have a big, beautiful weekend, because I'm going to. And all the best.